order. May I please have a roll call?
Do you want to do that? Oh, okay. Sorry, I'll do it. Sorry. Yeah. Commissioner Martin.
Here.
Commissioner Barry.
Present.
Commissioner Lawrence.
Here.
Commissioner Paris.
Here.
Commissioner Setzer.
Present.
Commissioner Gambrell.
Here.
Commissioner Kanovic, absent. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, if we would stand and do the pledge to the flag, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, do we have any public comments tonight? All right, thank you. And no presentations?
We do not?
Okay. After that, we're on to staff reports.
Great. Thank you. So I have included in your packet a revised budget, taking into account everything we've spent so far. We don't have, when I put this out, we didn't have the final expenditures for the October Family Art Day factored into this, but we'll actually be a little bit under this budget, or actually right at that budget, by like 75 cents under when it's all said and done. So, so far we have expended $18,865, leaving an available balance of $1,135. As you may have seen later in the packet, I do have a proposal to use some of that budget up. As a reminder, our fiscal year ends on October 31st, so we don't have a lot of time to spend that money. So my proposal will be to incorporate it into an existing project so we can go ahead and maximize those funds. But like I said, we'll talk about that in a minute. Do I have any questions about the other expenditures listed here?
Don't believe so.
Okay, great. So in next month's packet, you will see a brand new budget that's basically zeroed out for the upcoming fiscal year because it'll be our first month of the new fiscal year. And again, we have a $20,000 budget like we do this year. Next is an update on fall programming. So we have had 2 family art days so far. We had 38 people in September, which was too big. We had 6 people?
6 people.
6 people for October, which is a little smaller than what we were hoping for. So we will continue advertising and promoting our November Family Art Day class. I think have settled on about 25 people is a good fit for the Park House and to be able to manage the class load and have enough time and space for people to operate. We will be having an internal meeting on Thursday to start planning for after the new year and try to get 2017 scheduled out. So expect more updates on that at our November meeting. We did cancel the printmaking series class because we didn't have anybody enroll. So that was a good lesson for us about time of day and maybe a multiple series, people's ability to commit to that. So we are still in an experimentation period. We have gotten some submissions through our website. If there are people who are interested in being an instructor, there is a link and a form to fill out on the website. And so I know we've had one submission for someone who's interested in teaching some music classes. And then, of course, the traditional painting and that sort of stuff has come through. So we will have a better update on what's coming at our November meeting, but we would be happy to answer any questions you might have about that. Heather, do you have any comments about how it's gone so far?
It's been a lot of fun.
Good. Great. I still have boxes in my office. So in October, it was recycled art, and City Hall staff was collecting, and I had to cut everybody off. I'm like, I don't need any of this stuff anymore. Stop dropping it off. All right. Moving on to the Public Art Committee. I wanted to let everyone know that we have a new meeting time. It will be 7:30 p.m. on the 3rd Tuesday of the month. So if you would ever like to join us for that, feel free to come. Those agendas are always posted on the city website, so you can keep track of it that way as well. The Public Art Committee also recently approved the street light banner designs, and I've included those in your packet for review. The two photograph ones, the music instrument and the paint brushes, are the general art banners, and those will rotate around the circle, so it'll be as 6 of one and 6 of the other, and they will alternate. So we're going to go ahead and get those ordered before the end of the month. And then the second set is just a general Relax and Raymore banner to coordinate with the Pop-Up Art Project, and so those will be put up in coordination with the Pop-Up Art Project during the summer. And so we're ordering one set of each for around the circle, and then a set of the photograph ones for the large streetlights as well. Any questions about that?
I do have a quick question. And this might just be because of where I come from. But the music is upside down in the picture. And I don't know if
important to
that
know.
matters to anyone. But it's something we always look for to make sure it's correct.
Well, we can fix that. That's good feedback.
Oh, yeah. I just now noticed that.
Yeah. Perfect.
Our, Meredith, the question, the Relax and Raymore are those the banners that are going on the circle here, not
Yes.
out on the street?
Right, that's a
And those
circle.
are the same size banners that are that the Fall Festival used?
Correct.
Which I think are somewhat small to read, but these are a little more designed, a little bit better than theirs were, so.
Yeah. So we're trying to make them more contrast and make the print bigger and
Right.
reduce the amount of print. So it's a more graphic banner. And we had a lot of conversation about you have to be able to see it when you drive by. So something that's been taken into consideration. Absolutely.
And remind me again, how many of the street light banners do we order? What's in each set?
The small banners.
No, the banners that are going out on 58 on the lampposts?
10.
10.
5
10
of
in-
each.
5 of each, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, in your packet, you have the notes from the September 20th Public Art Committee meeting and the October 4th Public Art Committee meeting. And then the final item from Public Art is Commissioner Lawrence has provided an update from the MACA Public Art Workshop that she attended in October. So I will turn it over to her to make a presentation on that.
Well, I wrote a lot, and I included, in addition to my notes, a 2-page piece that was presented by Marie Hunter at the workshop. It's entitled Public Art Tips and Testimonials, and it's just a wealth of recommendations and ideas from a person who's very experienced, both as a public employee in Columbia running their culture and arts department, and now she's a board member for the Missouri Arts Council. And of all of the presenters, she was the most down-to-earth and practical and vivacious, and I think if we ever have an opportunity to bring her here, it would be great. I regretted the fact that it was a chock-full day, but the setup was not conducive to doing a lot of networking with other people there. I did get a chance to talk to the 4 Blue Springs ladies who were there, and we agreed on needing to get together and sort of exchange ideas and that kind of thing. And the other thing that wasn't included in this meeting, but a couple of weeks ago there was an insert in the Star about exploring St. Joseph and their arts walk there. And St. Joseph has temporary art that's up for a year, and Blue Springs has privately funded art as well as a beautiful publicly funded piece that you can see from the interstate. And then there was nobody from Lee's Summit there, but it seems to me that that's another possible networking opportunity for us, although they're certainly larger than we are, but they've done some pretty spectacular pieces of public art. Some of the presenters had some great PowerPoint presentations with a lot of photographs of pieces of art. And one thing that I would love for us to bring here is a piece that was originally designed for St. Louis it's a temporary art piece, but it's sort of been around the world now. And it is a giant red ball. A giant red ball, which can be, it would fill a fourth of this room, maybe more. It's shown on staircases and between buildings and on football fields and all kinds of places. You can lean against it, you can roll it around. It's really spectacular. And I have the website for the artist and for the piece showing it in a lot of different configurations. So of all the pieces that we were exposed to in this workshop, that one was the one that I thought, maybe we could do that. So it was a great experience. Harry did a good impression of Meredith. And he enjoyed it too. And it was kind of good to have my husband Harry there because he's been active in arts councils and it has been a fundraiser. So it was interesting to him to hear about the ways that public art has been funded. The last thing I would say is one of the things that I brought away from it is almost every size city imaginable is doing the 1% or 2% for art. And it just seems to be the big thing. And it has resulted in a lot of wonderful art in public places. So thank you all for the opportunity.
Great.
Well, thank you for going. Really appreciate that. And great notes, by the way. Thank you.
And that concludes staff report.
Do any of the commissioners have any questions or comments for Meredith, or? Okay. All right, we have one consent item tonight, and that is the minutes from the meeting dated September 13th, 2016. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from that meeting?
So move.
Second?
Second?
Okay, are there any corrections, additions, or comments about those meeting minutes? Okay, if not, may I see a show of hands for those who approve the minutes? Okay, that's unanimous. The minutes have been approved. Thank you. I don't believe we have any old business, so, I'm sorry, I apologize.
No, you don't need to apologize. I just want to
Harriet.
add one thing about the Relax in Raymore project, and that is that at Foxwood Springs, where there were 7 or 8 of us, both residents and employees who designed and painted chairs, and a week ago or so, they were auctioned off for the Alzheimer's Foundation charity, which is what Foxwood Springs supports a lot. And the executive director said, well, you know, our goal is to raise this year $10,000 for the foundation, and we need to get $2,000 today. And I said, yeah, right. And we made $2,000.
Oh, that's great.
The chairs went every place from $65 to $500. And so the Cat in the Hat got the best.
Yeah.
Although the Relax in Raymore and the Nuts About Raymore were sold at a pretty good price too. So anyway, this sort of bodes well for the fact that we've talked about doing an auction next year in connection with the project. So I think we should do it.
Great, thank you for that comment. Okay, if there's no other comments, Bob, did you have a comment that you, oh, okay, I wasn't sure I saw your hand or not. Thank you. All right, on to our new business. The first item is to talk about the Municipal Center Public Art Project. And Meredith, are you going to be presenting? Okay, if you would, please.
Sure. So at the October 4th Public Art Committee meeting, and all 3 of these items next on the agenda will relate back to this meeting, the Public Art Committee considered proposals for 2 call for artists, the Municipal Center Call for Artist and the 58 and Dean Entrance Monument Call for Artist. As part of the conversation about the Municipal Center Public Art Project, the Public Art Committee decided to request that the Arts Commission consider approving additional funding for that project. Right now, that project has a $5,000 budget that will come out of our current fiscal year, which ends at the end of October. And the Public Art Committee is asking that the Arts Commission consider approving using the $5,000 that is set aside for public art in the next fiscal year budget that you all put together as well. So the total budget that they are looking for is $10,000. I will say that because we have an extra $1,000 available out of this year's budget, the Arts Commission could choose to say we will use $6,000 from the current year's budget to go ahead and add that $1,000 to the $5,000, and then to use $4,000 from next year's budget, leaving $1,000 available for an additional public art project.
Yeah, I was wondering about how that would work. Do I have, before we start, well, first of all, may I have a motion to increase the public center, public art budget from $5,000 to $10,000?
I had a quick question, if it's okay. I just was curious regarding the concept of the public art in the municipal center. I mean, is it going to be indoor art? Is it going to be outdoor art? Have we left it completely open to whatever may happen?
This will be a piece of outdoor art.
Okay, okay.
And the Call for Artists did specify a $5,000 project, but the Call for Artists did not have the artist design anything. So they can still, we can easily increase the budget and they can factor that into their new conceptual plan. So that doesn't impact the Call for Artists, but this is an outdoor piece of permanent art that will be owned by the city.
And when is the call for art? This might have already been covered and I missed it, I'm sorry.
So the Call for Artists is closed. So
Okay.
next on the agenda, we'll talk about who the Public Art Committee is recommending to do that work.
Oh, and that was what was in the back of the paper.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, I'm clear now, sorry.
So this motion for tonight is to approve additional monies to support the municipal center art project.
Correct.
And as I understand it, we have available in our current budget this fiscal year an extra $1,000 plus or minus, which we could apply towards the $5,000 we already have, which makes that a balance of $6,000. So what we'd be looking for from the next year's budget is $4,000.
Correct.
Okay. And my understanding would be that it might not necessarily all be spent, but the idea is that that gives more leeway to the artist to create something more substantial.
That's
Okay.
correct. And it's important to note that this piece of art won't be installed until May of next year. So it actually will be installed in next year's budget, which is what allows us, I mean, it somewhat counts as next year's piece of public art as well.
So the money that is in this year's budget, how, and this is just the banking in me, but how is that accounted for? Because it's actually going to be finished in next year's budget.
Sure.
What's going to allow us to spend the money this year?
We signed the contract in this
Okay.
year, so it
All right.
allows the money to be encumbered
Okay.
in this year, and then next year's budget is just added onto it.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay, and then I have another question.
sure. No, that's fine.
So then in regards to upkeep and maintenance of any outdoor art piece, as we saw in Harriet's notes,
Yeah.
it's really important to consider that. Would that be something that then goes into our budget, or is that a Parks and Rec line
That'll
item?
go into actually building and grounds.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. Are there any other, before we go ahead with the motion to approve the additional money, are there any other, I think we should have approved the motion and then talked about it.
These
but
are still staff questions.
Okay.
So any discussion amongst council members happens after the motion.
Okay, fine.
Yep.
If there's any other questions for Meredith before we entertain that motion? Any other comments from part of the committee that help? Okay. All right, then may I have a motion to approve the additional money of $5,000 to add to the Municipal Center Public Art Project?
Let's specify 1,000 from this
Oh,
fiscal
with-
year and
yes.
$4,000 from next fiscal
Right,
year.
Right. So that's a net of 4,000 from the next fiscal year and 6,000 that will come out of this year's budget. May I have a motion to approve that, please?
So move.
A second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of approving this request, please raise your hand. Okay, that's a unanimous decision, thank you. That has been carried. All right, the next item is the discussion of the contract. We must, tonight, in order to move forward, we need to allow the contract to be signed by the city manager to move forward with the Municipal Center Public Art Project. And Meredith, if you will please give us an update on who and what the contract is about.
Absolutely. So in response to the Municipal Center Call for Artists, we received 3 proposals. The Public Art Commission met on October 4th to review those proposals. This is a request for qualifications, and so the group was looking strictly at the qualifications of the artists, not at any potential design that they may have included for the site. Simply, are they qualified to do the work? Their recommendation was Chet Redman, who is a Raymore resident, and I have included his proposal in your packet as background. So what will happen after this is we'll enter into a design, fabrication, and installation agreement with Chet to allow him to move forward with this project. There will be specific deadlines set, and I want to go over what those deadlines are for you and where the public input happens. So we are having an internal staff meeting with Chet actually this week to kind of go through all of the permitting and, you know, kind of that whole process with him. The Public Art Committee has also shared some additional thoughts about what they would like to see in the piece that I will pass along to him so he can begin his work on the conceptual design of this project. He will provide staff a updated conceptual design November 9th, so we can do an initial review with kind of our building department and everything to make sure it's meeting all of our requirements. And then it will go back to the Public Art Committee on November 15th. And I would like to invite all of you to come to that meeting if you're so interested to have input into that piece of art. It will not come back to the Arts Commission. You've approved the budget for it. The Public Art Committee will provide any design comments for it. So if you want input into this piece of art from a design perspective, please come to the Public Art Committee meeting. After that Public Art Committee meeting,
Meredith, may I
Yeah.
interrupt? Is that a meeting, a closed meeting, or open?
open.
Okay.
Yep. And so that'll be at 7:30 on November 15th. And then and then after that meeting, we will set him loose and he will begin his design and fabrication. And in the contract, it has a series of checkpoints of when he'll get paid for what and what the different milestones are for him to meet. It is here. Yes, I'm not sure what room it will be in yet. We are very booked on Tuesday nights right now. So stay tuned or take a look at the agenda.
Excuse me, Meredith.
Yeah.
Another question, fiscal question. Are we paying an honorarium at this point, or how does he get paid based on progress reports?
He gets paid based on progress.
Okay.
Yeah. Since there is only, we didn't establish an honorarium for this project because of the size and
Right.
scope. It's fairly small.
Okay.
And because we knew from the beginning we would only be selecting one artist. And once that artist was selected, he or she would be the one doing the conceptual design. So it's just a milestone incorporated into the agreement.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and then I will add that next Monday night with the city council at their work session, we're going to have a holistic conversation about the public art approval process with them. One of the things that Harriet's note showed, and is something that we know can happen when you have this many boards and commissions and committees involved in decision making, is we want to make sure every group really understands what their role is in the decision making process. We also want to make sure that we aren't going back to the artist 4 or 5 different times with feedback on design. I mean, art is very subjective. And so we have designed the Public Art Committee to be the group to provide design feedback to the artist. And so beyond that point, it's just budgetary approval. And so we'll be going over that with the city council. Ultimately, they have to sign off on the larger pieces of art, like the entrance monument. But we just want to make sure we all understand our roles. So if you are interested in coming to that meeting next week,
And that's a
do so.
work session?
At 7 o'clock.
And when you said they have to approve public art, is there a dollar value they're looking to approve or a concept?
So traditionally, any contract over $10,000 goes to the city council. So that's the threshold that we'll be proposing to them. But before we actually get into bringing a real concept for them to approve, we want to talk about how the flow works and the call for artists, and here's the process of selecting an artist, and here's the group that's going to provide design feedback. And, you know, we don't want it, every group, you know, at some point Parks and Rec may have to see something, and like we've talked about, we don't want every group saying, well, I wish that was blue instead of red, and, you know, taller instead of whatever. So we're trying to really focus in on who has what decision-making authority.
I think that's good because I would hate to see something happen like what happened before. If
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Did you have a?
Yeah, so it's next Monday, the 17th?
Yeah.
At 7 o'clock here, and that is, so sort of describe again what.
That is a holistic workshop for the city council talking about the public art process, what they're going to see in November when these concepts come to them. So taking them through the entire process of, we issued a call for artists, the public art committee selected an artist, they did conceptual review, the public art committee provided design feedback to them. You know, here's where all these checkpoints are and what committee is responsible for what level of approval. So we won't actually be making any decisions on any pieces of actual art. This is just process.
I did think I heard you say the council having conceptual approval. Did I mishear you? Was I not listening well?
No, so on big pieces of art, like the entrance monument, they will need to sign off on the project.
On the
before it moves-
concept?
On the
actual
concept.
final design?
Yeah, and so because they have to do that, we want to make sure we're all in agreement that by the time it gets to them, when is the appropriate time to provide feedback to the artist? And probably by the time it's attached to the agreement going to city council, we've somewhat passed that point.
Right, but I would reiterate the point that was made about 5 times at the public art, the MACA workshop, that the elected officials should not be the deciders when it comes to the design.
And that's, yes.
That we are there to,
I mean, that's what we were
run
appointed
inter-
for.
yeah.
Yes. So that is precisely the conversation
Exactly.
we're hoping to have,
Okay.
and why we
I mean,
want
it's-
to address this
I think
early.
it would be really important for as many of us who can attend and understand that concept to promote that. I
Please.
mean, it would be very easy, I think, early on in this for elected officials to want to take credit, but the core of the workshop is every piece of art is going to be controversial. They really don't want to be the people who say, somebody says, I hate that. They can say that to us.
We want that all to go on the public art committee.
Right. Big shoulders.
Yeah.
Big shoulders. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should be there.
Yeah.
Meredith, is that the only agenda item that night?
No, it is not, and so I encourage you.
Where do we fit in on the agenda, or has that been determined yet?
It hasn't been determined, so I'll take a look at that when the agenda gets published. We are naming a road and a building that night, so that will be a somewhat lengthy discussion. Judge Nigro will be there to have a general conversation about municipal court, so I know that will be a level of conversation. And then we're also talking about a construction traffic ordinance. So based on all of that, I'm not sure we'll be first, but I'll probably be able to give you a time estimate on when your item will come up. So you probably won't be first, so you probably won't need to be here right at 7.
And will you be facilitating for our group? And
Yes.
will we have the ability to make comments during the meeting or no?
No.
Okay. So we can only listen.
And show support. I mean,
Right.
be there in
I mean,
support
show
of the-
support by being there, but
Yeah.
we are not going to participate in any way. You are going to be the facilitator. Okay.
Yes.
So any input we should give to you.
Yes, please.
Gotcha.
Yes. Or to your council member. Okay, so I know that was a really long and roundabout way to get to. We have the Public Art Committee has selected an artist and is recommending to the Arts Commission to support entering a contract with Chet Redmond for the permanent art piece at Municipal Center, which will now have a larger budget based on last approval. So are there any specific questions about Chet or that decision from the Public Art Commission?
Any of the commissioners have questions or comments?
Okay.
Okay. With that, then I will entertain a motion to formally support the city manager entering into a contract with Chet Redmond for the design and implementation of the Municipal Center Public Art Project. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all those approving this motion to enter into the contract, please raise your hand. Okay, that motion is approved 100%, and that carries. Thank you. All right, the next item is the approval of the recommendation for the city manager to enter into a conceptual design agreement with the artist that was selected for the city entrance monument project. And if you could discuss that, Meredith?
Sure. So we also did a call for artists. This is for a piece of art at the corner of 58 and Dean as part of the new development that's taking place there right now. There is a site right at that corner that will be given to the city as an easement. So we'll have control of that site. It's a 30 by 30 piece of land that we had originally discussed putting a traditional entrance monument on. That concept has since changed to be a entrance monument / piece of art. So the piece somehow has to incorporate Raymore or the city of Raymore or something identifying our community into the design. And it can be much larger. The overall budget that the developer, it's part of the financing and the incentive package for that project. The overall budget for the project is $50,000, but with the additional site work that will have to be done and base and all of that stuff, the artist has a budget of $35,000 for this project. The Public Art Committee reviewed 2 proposals for this monument and again selected Chet Redmond as their recommendation to the Arts Commission. The difference in this piece of art is because it's much larger in scale, both in budget and size. And we didn't know at the beginning if we were going to be bringing one artist or multiple artists forward. And we actually are entering into a conceptual design agreement with Chet first, which will allow him to actually dig deep. It'll provide an honorarium of $1,500 for him to dig deeper into the design of this project because there's going to be additional reviews that have to be done from the building size based on the scope. So to give him some time to formalize all of that. We are going to move it forward on the same schedule as I had previously talked about. So staff will get design by November 9th. It will go to the Public Art Committee also on November 15th. Chet will be there to make a presentation. So again, that would be a meeting to attend if you're interested. And then because of this scale and the entrance monument component and the fact that it's associated with the development, it will go to City Council for a not approval, but a presentation of the conceptual design on November 21st at their work session at 7 p.m. And I'll send you an email with all of these dates so you can choose what fits into your schedule to attend. So once it goes through all of those presentations, then the City Council on November 28th at their regular meeting, we'll hear the first reading of the actual design and fabrication contract for $35,000 with Chet, assuming we make it that far and everybody's satisfied with that. So the developer, because of how this project is, it's on their property with their money, they will be participating at some level and providing some feedback, probably when it's during the staff review process. So we're still working on that. They'll just be able to provide comments. They won't have a yay or a nay vote, but they'll be able to provide some comments and make sure it fits into their site plan and works well with what else is happening on their piece of property. So we should know all of that before we come to the Public Art Committee meeting on the 15th and have made any height adjustments or anything like that. It will mainly be those sort of comments.
Meredith, could you, as, I'm just kind of unclear, as I look at the Dean property, if I'm heading towards the City Hall, looking at the corner of the property there, is it on the actual corner there on
Well, give me
Dean Highway, Dean Road?
Yep, if you, hold on.
58 and Dean, and so it's that corner right there,
Yeah, let me,
southeast corner.
here, I just
Oh, okay.
broadcast. Did that work?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Yep.
okay. that
So
makes
here
it more
you
clear.
are on 58 Highway and you are facing east. The blue car Jeep is heading
Yes.
east on 58
Yep.
Highway. You can see kind of Sam's Club in the back. So that was the initial entrance monument sign. This, the one you saw in your packet's 40 feet tall. So this will be a little more substantial if that's the direction Chet chooses to go. If you look, here's from above the development. So here's, can you see my mouse?
Yep.
Okay, so this is Panda Express. This is Golden Corral over here. So Panda Express, Qdoba, and then this is the inline retail, and then it'll be right at that corner. They will have an additional sign for their development right here. So this is totally separate right here
So
from any
the,
sign for their stores.
so the piece of sculpture will actually be in green space, or it looks like it's almost in part of the parking lot?
It's not in part of their parking lot.
Okay, so it's out on that green space, that
Yep.
border there? Okay,
So we'll, likely be installing a pad for it and,
right.
You know.
But it's not part of their, like, main footprint there? Okay.
nope.
Does anybody else have any questions about the design, where it's to go? Because I wasn't sure exactly. So it'll be facing out.
Overhead view for a second. Thank you. I just wanted to see the parking
Yep.
spaces versus the space for the sign. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay. Meredith, was that all you, it seemed like I had a question, but I can't think of it now, so I'll save it for that night we meet. Do any of the other commissioners have feedback for Meredith, or questions, comments? Okay. Then could I entertain a motion to approve the concept agreement, approve that the city manager can sign a concept agreement with the intended artist, Chet Redmond, tonight? If I could have a motion to approve that, please?
So moved.
Second? Anybody second?
Sure, second.
Okay. All those in favor of approving this, please raise your hand. Okay, it's unanimous. We have now approved that the city manager can enter into the concept agreement with Chet Redmond. Thank you. Okay. Is there any other business before the commission tonight?
No.
No. Okay. Do any of the commissioners have comments? Anybody? Bob? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I will, but you go first.
I just wanted to thank everybody who could make it to the parade and help the float out, family and friends. Please, again, extend my thanks. I thought it looked really nice. We did a really good job and walked everybody to death.
I was so hot after that. I said, oh my gosh, next year, water. Yeah, thank you, and I think it was great. It seemed like, as one of the walkers along there, and thank you very much for helping. I think the people along the route were very thrilled with the pamphlets we handed out. We're, inquisitive about the fact that, oh my gosh, there's classes for young kids, and so I think it was a good thing. So thank you, Bob, for doing that.
Quick comment. One of the things I did hear quite a bit, and as the driver of the truck, of the float, you get to hear everybody go, ooh. And so you did hear an equal number, well, no, you heard some people say, ooh, balloons. You heard a lot of that, but you really heard a whole bunch of, oh, look, it's the chair. It's the chair we took a photo of. That's the chair, you and your son, or you and your sister or brother. So we heard a lot about, oh, it's the chair. So yeah, great recognition.
Great, thank you very much. I would just quickly comment that I did a little dog and pony show for the TV station at Foxwood Springs. Myself and Sandra Braga, who's the president of the Art League, presented for about 15 minutes that day, and it's always a pleasure to work with those folks over there, and they want us to come back in the spring so that we can give an updated report on what progress we've made through the commission. So it's a fun thing to do, and I don't know how many of the Foxwood residents watched that show, but it's a nice thing, and they've done so much with the pop-up project that I hope we can do more with the residents there, because they are really good supporters of the arts. So it was nice. Okay, and with that, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of adjourning the meeting tonight, please raise your hand. Okay, it's unanimous. The meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
Yeah, I haven't had enough.
You know what? I was unsure if we were meeting at 6:30 today.
Oh, well, there you go. So I walked in and you guys were all in. I'm like, oh, crap. I have cardboard things for you if you're in need of them still for Saturday. If not, I could recycle all
That
of them.
class was last weekend.
I've had them in my car for 2 weeks. I'm going, I can't remember what our class was. Did it go well?
It went really well. It was a fantastic